Good evening, everybody. It's Chris Lees here from Advantage Learn. I'm going to be talking to you this evening about our advanced programs and our academy. Just to give you a little bit of background in terms of who Advantage Learn is and what it is that we do. We're essentially an educational organization founded out of Durban, but largely online, that helps high school learners with self-study resources in maths and science through Maths Online and Science Online. Some of you might have come across Maths Online at the inception of lockdowns, where we made that resource freely available to the nation to help with learning continuity over that time. So that's the one area where we help learners. The other area where we help learners is a national benchmark test preparation. It is quite prevalently required by South African universities for learners applying towards South African universities, especially in the more competitive degree programs. We then help learners with exam preparation in maths, physical science, life sciences, and accounting. And then what I'm here to talk to you about this evening is our advanced programs, which is actually where out of what Advantage Learn was founded, almost way back in, I think it was in 2012 now, it's quite a few years ago, and about our academy. So in terms of what we're going to cover this evening, let me go through that with you. But just to kick off, I just want to say to you all that I'm here to answer your questions about these various programs. So please feel absolutely at ease to ask me any questions that you might have. You can pop up your hand and ask me over audio, or you can come on over the chat and ask me in the chat, and I will notice your question in the chat and answer it there, or you can ask via the Q&A channel on Zoom. Any of those streams, you can ask me questions. As we say to our learners in our courses, there's no such thing as a stupid question. If you have a question in your mind, 9 times out of 10, someone else in the room has the same question, and they will appreciate you asking it because it'll give them clarity as well. So please, I'm here to answer your questions and to help you understand what these programs are all about. All right, so we'll start off with talking about the advanced programs, and specifically about advanced program maths and physics. I'll start by telling you about what the AP subjects are, why you should consider doing them, and then how to go about applying onto our programs. And that'll be the first half of the presentation this evening. And then I'll move on to the Advantage Learn Academy and Academy Plus. I'll explain to you what the Academy is all about, what the Academy Plus is all about, and how you can apply it to those programs. All right, so without further ado then, let's get into what is AP Maths and AP Physics. So, Peteru, will the recording be made available? Yes, sir. We make our recordings available to all attendees of our webinars. It'll be sent through to you after the webinar. Good question, thank you. So, what is AP Maths and AP Physics? The advanced programs are administered by the Independent Examination Board, and they are essentially an additional qualification that learners can work towards and achieve at the end of grade 12 should they pass the final IEB exam. They're quality assured programs and recognized certificates and qualifications. Some of you in the room, some parents in the room may remember the AP Maths, for instance, rather as additional maths when you were at school. When I was at school, it was additional maths. I did additional maths at that stage. But what happened, I think it was in about 2008, was that the Department of Basic Education decided that it was incredibly difficult to resource the additional maths program, which is an extension program, and many from an examination perspective, but also from a teaching perspective in the schools all over the country. And so they decided to remove it from the National Senior Certificate and focus on the core subjects, which was a fair decision at the time. Okay. However, at that time, the IEB recognized that while there were many fair reasons for doing this, this was to the detriment of learners that were especially interested in mathematics and needed extension in that regard. And so the IEB went to great expense and great lengths to reformulate a separate qualification and separate certificate with which they got quality assured by Umalusi, the same quality assurance body that qualities assures the National Senior Certificate. They reformulated additional maths into advanced program mathematics. But from a subject matter perspective, it is essentially the same subject as what additional maths was back then. And what is fantastic about it now, with the IEB having repositioned it into an additional qualification and an additional certificate, is that it gives learners an additional leaving qualification when they matriculate at the end of grade 12, should they pass the final advanced program exams. So the advanced programs are extension programs in the subjects that they are offered, and they are offered in maths, physics, Afrikaans, and English. We at Advantage Learn help learners with advanced program maths and advanced program physics. And the underpinning philosophy of the advanced programs, the reason that they were developed by the IEB, is to better prepare learners for tertiary study. And I can attest to that firsthand, having done additional mathematics myself at high school, and then having gone on to study a very challenging degree program in chemical engineering, and recognizing just how much that helped me in my transition from high school to university, and how it enabled me to excel at university and even set me up for to receive a tertiary scholarship, which led me into a job with Sasol and really helped me beyond high school. In terms of the subject matter of the advanced programs, they essentially cover university level concepts at a high school level. They largely cover first year university concepts at a high school level. And in advanced program maths, the program is run over 3 years from grade 10 to 12. And in advanced program physics, the program is run over 2 years in grade 11 and 12. Now, the natural question that emanates from that is, well, if we're going to be covering these concepts in university, then why cover them at high school? But the simple answer to that question is that there is a growing gap between the level of knowledge that learners are leaving high school with and the level of knowledge required to excel in your maths oriented or your science oriented degree programs. And so the advanced programs present a perfect opportunity to bridge that gap and ensure that learners are set up to succeed at a university level. The other thing is that it's a testament to the step change in the rate of learning that learners need to grapple with when they move from high school to university. So in AP Maths, as an example, it's a 3-year program at high school. Many of those concepts are largely covered in the first year of a university program that has a math subject in it, and even more so largely in the first semester of the first year. And that is testament to the step change in the rate of learning that learners need to navigate when they move from high school to university. At high school, learners are given a lot of time to come to terms with concepts, to practice concepts. When they move to university, lectures and the courses move rapidly, and learners are expected to keep up and be able to absorb that knowledge, understand that knowledge, work with that knowledge at a much more rapid rate. And so the advanced programs provide a really helpful foundation and leg up for learners as they navigate this significant change in their learning, where they've gone from a high school to a tertiary institution, which relies a lot more on self-discipline and taking ownership of their progress. And so the advanced programs are really helpful in that regard. I then want to talk a little bit about our advanced programs philosophy at Advantage Learn. And this is really important at the outset for both parents and learners that are considering doing these programs. They are advanced programs. They are not easy. They are going to challenge and extend learners. And oftentimes, for the first time in your very high achieving learners' school careers, the advanced programs will likely be the first time where a learner might not achieve an A in a subject. Most of the time, learners' marks drop by in the order of 20 to 30% when you compare their core maths mark to the advanced program maths mark, or their core physical science mark compared to their advanced program physics mark. And for many learners and some parents, that is quite a psychological hurdle to get over. Many learners and some parents are too focused in on the marks that they are achieving in the subjects and do not provide enough emphasis on whether or not they are actually interested in what they are studying and whether they can genuinely feel growth and advancements in their mental development and their development in general. And that really is the focus for us at Advantage Learn. Our advanced programs are all about challenging and extending learners, and the growth mindset and the grit that these programs develop in our learners is far more important than the marks that they achieve. And in many instances, the advanced programs for your really high aptitude intelligent learners are the first opportunity for a learner to actually be genuinely challenged and to actually experience what it is to struggle with a concept and develop the work ethic that they need to stick at it until they develop that understanding, to practice it so that they learn how to apply it well. And that's a really, really important coping mechanism and learning experience for learners, because no matter how clever you are, there will come a time in your life where you're going to be challenged and extended. It's inevitable beyond high school, and you need to develop that work ethic that is going to stand you in good stead in facing those challenges. And so the advanced programs are incredibly helpful in developing really solid work ethic. And as a result of that, they are viewed incredibly positively by tertiary institutions in South Africa and abroad. Learners who achieve an advanced program certificate at the end of grade 12 should absolutely include that in their tertiary applications, and tertiary institutions will look at that very favorably in terms of admitting learners into a university program. Because an advanced program certificate tells them that here is a learner who has gone above and beyond, studied further, and had the perseverance, the aptitude, and the work ethic to see this program through and pass it. And a pass is looked at really favorably. Simply a pass. They're not so concerned about a very high mark in the advanced programs. Simply a pass in these programs is looked at very, very favorably. All right, so that leads me nicely on to why you should consider doing the advanced programs in maths and physics. The first point here is that it improves your core subject results. So by doing the advanced programs, you will experience a very positive overflow onto your core mathematics and your core physical sciences. Because you are being extended in the advanced programs, by virtue of that extension, it will lead to you having to hone your foundational skills, which are largely sitting in your core mathematics or your core physical science. And so you will start to see a really positive impact on your core subject results. And the majority of our advanced program learners report that after having taken our advanced program courses, they start to fly in their core subjects. It's a very different way. It's a very different mechanism from going to extra maths, for instance, where extra maths will come in at the level that you're at and support you at that level and trying to close your gaps at that level. The advanced programs come in at a higher level, they stretch learners, and by virtue of stretching the learners, inevitably their foundational skills and knowledge in mathematics and physics improve. Is the AP mark included in the final matric average score? Great question, Michelle. No, it isn't. It is not. The advanced programs are a separate certificate. So they do not appear on the national certificate, national senior certificate, and therefore they are not included in that average. And that's really great because it's not going to influence your average on your national senior certificate. Essentially, your national senior certificate will comprise of your core subjects, but then you'll have this additional advanced program qualification, which really augments your application and helps it in that regard. So great question there. Back before 2008, additional maths would have appeared on your national senior certificate, but since it was reformulated, it's now a completely separate certificate and a completely separate qualification, which is actually quite nice because it's not going to bring your national senior certificate average down. Okay. The other reasons why you should do the advanced programs are that it helps in university applications, which I've referred to. In terms of university applications, what universities look at is they first look at your national senior certificate. That is the primary sorting mechanism. A secondary sorting mechanism is your national benchmark test score. And then they look at other things that you were involved in that tell them a bit more about your ability as a learner, your character, and all of those things, and your suitability to a certain program. And the advanced programs are a really powerful certificate at that level to assist in your application. The reality is that just based on the national senior certificate, far too many learners, then there are places actually qualify for the various universities and the various degree programs. And so the primary national senior certificate is critical, but quickly, in order to admit learners, they have to start looking at other criterion to admit learners and to differentiate between who of these learners that are applying are set up to succeed at those degree programs. Because ultimately what a university wants to do is, a university's mandate essentially is to serve the economy and provide skills into the economy. And they need to do that by providing fair access to tertiary study, but then by admitting the best applicants that have the best chance at succeeding at those degree programs so that they can have the highest pass rates at the end of those degree programs. And the advanced programs are really helpful in that regard. Is your AP program recognized internationally? And I'm going to get to that, Michelle. It's a good question. It's coming further down on the slide, and I'm going to talk to it a little bit. The third point I want to talk to is that learners are less likely to struggle at university. So I may have alluded to this already, but the fact that you've covered concepts in advance is really helpful when you move to university and need to orientate yourself to a completely new environment and a different way of learning, a different way of learning and a different rate of learning. And in this regard, it helps two general profiles of learners in different ways. Your exceptionally high aptitude learner, the advanced programs, so the type of, this might resonate with some of you on the webinar this evening, the type of learner who achieve straight A's across their subjects finds that they don't really need to do all the homework in order to do that, finds that they are able to study the night before the maths test and still crack 95% for the test. Those learners, while they're exceptionally sharp mind and high aptitude is a real gift, unfortunately it's a double-edged sword, and oftentimes it leads to the development of very poor work ethic because they are able to succeed without actually applying themselves and working well and being diligent in their studies. And so for those exceptionally high aptitude learners, the advanced programs are an exceptionally important thing to consider so that they are significantly challenged in a sphere that helps them to develop those skills of grit, perseverance, diligence at their work, practice, and all of those things, which they will inevitably need at university. And so it helps those learners not to struggle at university, because they become equipped with those work ethic skills, which are so important. The other profile of learner is your mid-aptitude learner, who's not necessarily the smartest learner, but they have very solid work ethic. They do exceptionally well as a result of it, but it takes them a bit longer to pick up higher order concepts and the more difficult concepts. And the advanced programs mean that because they've covered many of these ahead of time, when they move to university and the rate of learning steps up, they are able to pick them up and keep up with the class as they reorientate and as their capacity develops, and then they succeed at university and beyond. The fourth reason there is that AP students find the national benchmark test easier, because in the advanced programs, learners are taught to approach problems very differently and are learned to grapple with much deeper problems. They actually really help them towards their national benchmark tests. And that's another reason why you should consider it. You're asking me to explain on the NBT, when should it be taken, grade 11 or grade 12? You should only write the national benchmark test in grade 12, as many of the concepts that are tested on in the national benchmark test, the underpinning content of the national benchmark test is the grade 11 curriculum and some of the grade 12 curriculum. So if you take it in grade 11, you may not have covered certain mathematical concepts that you will need in one of those tests. So you only take the national benchmark tests in grade 12. And we do have national benchmark test informational webinars as well. So please look out for those, because I get into detail on the national benchmark tests, how to navigate them, which institutions require them, and give you advice on how you can prepare for them. So thanks for your question there. I've mentioned about the mid-aptitude learners and extending and challenging strong students. And the last point is that the advanced programs are recognized internationally. So the IEB have gone to great extent to actually benchmark these programs with an international benchmarking organization called ENIC. And the advanced programs have been benchmarked to be at an equivalent level of the GCE, the General Certificate of Education, the UK General Certificate of Education, A level, the advanced level, which is the most advanced certificate that a learner can achieve in any subject under the UK education framework. So many international institutions, if you are applying as a South African learner and you look towards their requirements, they will recognize that you need your national senior certificate, which is our matric certificate, but you also need further studies for which the advanced programs are seen as sufficient. So if you have a national senior certificate and an advanced program certificate, many international institutions see that as a sufficient qualification for you to be eligible to apply. And so they are recognized internationally. And actually, if you go on the IEB website, if you just search IEB International Recognition, they have a whole web page of all the international institutions that recognize the advanced programs. And they are recognized quite abundantly, which is fantastic. All right, I need to move along because I also want to talk to you a little bit about the academy. But in terms of who should do the advanced program subjects, it's learners with a strong core subject competency. So if you're in grade 10 this year and you're considering advanced program maths, you should have achieved 70% or above in grade 9 last year. That's a ballpark estimate in terms of who should be considering advanced program mathematics. If you're in grade 11 this year and you're considering advanced program physics, because advanced program physics only starts in grade 11, you should already be achieving around over 70%. You should have achieved around over 70% in your physical science in grade 10 to be considering advanced program physics. Secondly, if you're interested in maths and or physics and you want to do well, then you should absolutely consider these things. I'm very strong in my belief that you should pursue your interests, because that's where your talent and your passion lies. And we should really focus on our strengths, not so much our weaknesses. We should be aware of our weaknesses and try to improve on them. But I think it's a way more effective strategy to focus and strengthen your strengths and really be good at those things. So yeah, if you're interested in maths or physics, I really encourage you to consider the advanced programs. If you see yourself applying towards a competitive degree program, so medicine, actuarial science, your engineering degrees, BCom, business science degrees, those degrees where there is a huge amount of applicants that go for those degree programs, then you really need to differentiate your application, and the advanced programs are highly recommended in that regard. And then any learner looking at any tertiary degree or course that requires a level of quantitative or scientific ability. So if you see yourself doing a BSc, a Bachelor of Science, if you see yourself doing engineering, if you see yourself doing accounting, commerce, business science, actuarial science, medicine, a technology-related degree like computer science or computer engineering, then the advanced programs are going to help you immensely because they have a lot of mathematics in those courses. And so the stronger you are at mathematics, and many of them have physics in those courses, which often presents as applied mathematics, and both advanced program maths and advanced program physics are going to help you immensely. And then if you are considering studying overseas, because like I've said, oftentimes the National Senior Certificate on its own is not enough to make you eligible for admission at an international institution, but the National Senior Certificate in combination with an advanced program certificate is often sufficient for that application. Okay, I now want to talk a little bit towards options for AP subjects for 2022. So we provide 3 streams of learning at AWho Learn: live online courses, guided online courses, and in-person courses where applicable. So learners can learn via one of our guided online courses, which is essentially guided online video lessons. These are studio-produced video lessons that are prescribed to learners weekly. They can complete the lessons at a time which suits them, pause, rewatch, rewind. They're supported by a program coordinator to assist with any queries that they might have, and they form part of the community of learners taking the advanced programs, being enrolled onto a dedicated AP Maths and AP Physics WhatsApp group where they get support from their educators and from their coordinators and from their peers. And this also includes our physical write-on textbooks, so there's no additional textbooks that need to be purchased for these programs. Another stream of learning that you can consider for our advanced programs is our live online lessons. So instead of this being pre-produced video lessons, these are scheduled live lessons done online as we are connecting this evening, in a similar way to that, where learners will join a weekly online live lesson taught by one of our expert advanced program educators. Equally, learners and parents will be supported by a program coordinator. They'll form part of the support groups on WhatsApp where they have access to their educators and their coordinators, and they follow the same write-on textbook as the guided online course does as well. And then we have our in-person learning stream. Our in-person learning stream is only available for advanced program mathematics for learners in the Durban area, because the center is in Westville at Westville Boys High School. And these lessons are very similar to the live online course, but instead of being in the online classroom, you're in a physical classroom, and otherwise it's very much the same. And those are the 3 learning streams that learners can consider in terms of taking the advanced programs. What is the underlying content of advanced program maths? Advanced program maths covers calculus and algebra, which are in bold because those are the core and compulsory modules in advanced program maths. And then one of 3 electives, which is either statistics, finance and modeling, or graph theory and matrices. Okay, so that's the underlying content. In terms of the program, it's an extracurricular program, which is 3 years from grade 10 to 12. There are 32 weeks of learning a year, and classes, or the level of effort each week, is between 90 to 120 minutes. So for instance, our grade 10 live classes are 90 minutes each week. Our grade 11 and 12 live classes are 120 minutes each week, or a 2-hour lesson. And there are 4 assessments in the year. In advanced program physics, there is a simple syllabus. There's no elective component to it. Advanced program physics is a 2-year program starting in grade 11. Learners will learn analytical skills, thermal physics, modern physics, mechanics, which they'll then complete in grade 12 before moving on to charged particles in electric and magnetic fields and oscillations. It's an extracurricular program, as I mentioned, over 2 years from grade 11 to 12. There are 28 weeks of learning a year. The lessons are 90 minutes per week, or there is about a 90-minute level of effort per week if you take the guided online course, and equally 4 assessments in the year. Now, in 2022, the advanced programs are actually being renamed as further studies. And it's an interesting renaming because many international universities, in terms of their entrance requirements for South African learners, will recognize the National Senior Certificate, but prescribe that they need further studies in order to be considered. And the advanced programs were seen as appropriate further studies. I think potentially to ease that mechanism, they've appropriately renamed the advanced programs as further studies. So advanced programs will now be known as further studies moving forward. It's simply a name change. The underlying content and the weight of the certificate remains the same in that regard. What the IEB have done is they've launched a new division called IEB International, and they've launched a new qualification called the International Secondary Certificate. So due to the competencies that they've developed in the advanced programs and the benchmarking that they've undergone to make them internationally benchmarked and internationally relevant, they have now taken the next step to creating a comprehensive international secondary certificate. And within that international secondary certificate, the advanced programs are a critical part of them, and they are being called further studies programs. It carries the same global benchmark as I mentioned earlier with UK ENIC, which makes them comparable to a GCE advanced level. And the ISC as a whole certificate is being quality assured by Stellenbosch University Unit for International Credentialing. Okay, so what does that mean? It means that advanced program physics will now be known as further studies physics, but it's the same program, the same certificate as before. There is a nuance changed in advanced program maths. Advanced program mathematics, paper 1, which is the core paper, calculus and algebra, will now be known as further studies mathematics standard. If a learner goes and takes the advanced program mathematics paper 1 and paper 2, so paper 1 is calculus and algebra, the core compulsory modules. Paper 2 is one of the electives, so either statistics, graph theory and matrices, or finance and modeling. If they write both of those papers and pass both of those papers, then they will receive a further studies maths extended certificate. Okay, so in the past, in order to achieve a advanced program certificate in mathematics, you had to write both paper 1 and paper 2, and you had to pass them on aggregate to achieve that certificate. Now, actually, learners in advanced program mathematics can achieve a further studies mathematics standard certificate and actually only focus on calculus and algebra and not worry about the electives. Or they can do calculus and algebra and an elective and achieve a slightly higher certificate known as further studies mathematics extended. And our programs will facilitate that for our learners in terms of making the right decision on which way they should go. But this has to some extent made a certificate in advanced program maths or further studies maths a little bit more attainable, because learners can actually just focus on paper 1 and achieve the standard certificate, which is fantastic. So if you want to read more, a little bit more about that, there's a blog on our website in that regard, and there's a recording of a webinar that I did on that change. But we will guide you through that and make sure that you make the right decision for you in terms of whether you should pursue further studies extended or further studies standard. All right, and we take you through that once you're in the program. You will need to register in your grade 12 year to write the IEB AP Maths or AP Physics final exam. There is a cost for registering for the final exam, which in 2021 was that price, 1,028 Rand per subject, per program. We assist our learners to register for the IEB exam and secure an examination center for them and all of those things. So we hold your hand through that process. And then each learner will need to achieve 50% or higher to receive the IEB certificate, which is generally delivered to the center they write at in the second week of January. Okay, this is a change from previous years where actually learners only had to achieve 40% or higher to achieve the certificate. They now have to achieve 50% or higher. So that's important to note. Our course costs are here. They are all available on our website. You can leverage the upfront payment mechanism to take advantage of a bit of a discount in that regard. But there are also payment plans, semesterly payment plans, or a 10-month debit order. And then if you're from one of our partner schools, remember that you will be eligible for further discounts on our programs. To apply for our advanced programs, you can simply visit advantagelearn.com, navigate towards our advanced programs, and go to the Apply Now button, fill out our application form, and then our admissions team will be in touch with you. Norm will drop that link in the chat right now to be helpful in that regard. So look out for that and you can follow that link straight away. And that's everything I wanted to tell you about the advanced programs. I hope I've answered many of your questions this evening. But that's what I wanted to tell you about the advanced programs. I do want to talk towards our academies. So I'm going to spend a little bit on our academies now. Our academies focus on core maths, physical science, and then robotics. So if you are interested in support in core maths, physical science, and then extension and robotics, then I suggest you stay on and listen a bit on our academy. If this evening you were here simply for the advanced programs, then feel free to drop off. But I'll pause before anyone does to give you an opportunity to ask any questions on the advanced programs before I continue on the academy. Okay, any questions? I don't see any. If you are still typing, continue and pop it in the chat. I am going to move on to the academy though. We've got until 6:30 and I don't want to keep you any longer than that. So I'm going to go through this relatively swiftly. But as I mentioned before, the academy focuses on the core subjects. So the advanced programs are extension subjects and additional certificates. Our academy focuses on core subjects. Our Academy Plus focuses on 4IR skills. So our academy in maths and physical science, our maths academy and our science academy, is all about identifying and closing learners' gaps in those subjects, helping them with consistent revision and extension to help them to take their performance in those subjects to the next level. We have our academy, which is in maths and science, and we have our Academy Plus, which currently is robotics and coding, and we will add more 4IR skills as we develop the Academy Plus out. But it's all about building your confidence in the core subjects. In the Academy Plus, preparing for the future, so preparing you with skills that aren't necessarily already part of core curriculum at schools, but are becoming increasingly important. They give you an opportunity to build your understanding with experts. They are online academies, so you can learn anywhere online. And our core subject academies focus on consistent revision and spaced reinforcement. So learners are also very well supported with some supplementary resources via Science Online and Maths Online, which is an amazing resource to help them with their learning. And that's what the academy is all about, taking your science and your maths performance to the next level. And our Academy Plus is all about learning 4IR skills that aren't necessarily part of your core curriculum and giving you an opportunity to learn those skills. Who should join the academy? Learners who want to excel in their core subjects and extend themselves in their core subjects, or learners who want to extend into these new skills that they don't necessarily have an opportunity to study at their high school. Learners that are interested in maths and physical science and or robotics and coding. And then in our core academy, learners who want to stay on top of their work to ease the load during exam time. So to keep you up to pace with your maths and your physical science and make sure that you are really well prepared for your exams and tests come when those roll around. And then learners who want additional support and extension. In terms of how the academy works, our maths academy is from grade 10 to 12, and our Science Academy is from grade 11 to 12. They consist of live weekly lessons. So weekly, you'll have a lesson with your expert educator. So for instance, I teach on the Science Academy. I'll have weekly lessons with my Academy class where I'll take them through elements of the syllabus. Learners will get access to our Maths Online service if they're on the Maths Academy, or the Science Online service if they're on the Science Academy, which is essentially studio-produced video lessons of all concepts in those core subjects in a library on our site where they can navigate directly to a concept that they're struggling with and get a quick, short lesson to refresh their memory and help them to understand it, or to teach it to them for the first time. As with our advanced programs, learners and parents are supported by program coordinators to assist with any queries. And then importantly, we work with our learners weekly with formative tests where we do short assessments with the learners weekly to assess how they are coping with a certain domain. Also to assess certain domains that they haven't necessarily covered in a while, so as to reinforce those domains and to understand where their knowledge gaps are so that we can adapt the next lesson so as to close those knowledge gaps and improve them all the time. And learners are on the class WhatsApp group where they have access to the educator and our program coordinators to assist. The Maths Academy is designed by Trish Pike, and the Science Academy is designed by Tyler Rodriguez and myself. What does it include? Weekly worksheets and notes, weekly tests and test memos, short, not high stakes assessments, all about practice, getting our learners to practice, because with practice they will improve. Learners get access to the lesson recordings so they can go back to any of the lessons. They have access to online support and weekly test feedback where we feedback on how they performed and where they went wrong. And then equally, our Academy learners get access to exam preparation come exam preparation time and our self-study tools in Science and Maths Online. So it really is a comprehensive program which really equips learners to advance in their maths and their physical science. This is the program cost, but when you look at what is included, it is an annual program, although learners can join termly up until the third term. We don't admit any learners in the fourth term, and it is recommended that you join from the start of the year to get the maximum benefit. But the value is quite significant in that there is the weekly lessons and the tests and the test feedback. You get access to Science or Maths Online, which is in the region of 1,620 Rand per annum. And our exam preparation courses are generally around 2,000 Rand on average per grade, per subject. And so the value, it is really a comprehensive program in terms of helping the learners in that regard. Our Academy Plus is similar to our Academy, but it's all about fourth industrial revolution skills. And so we have our Robotics Academy and the Academy Plus. This is for learners from grade 8 to 12, high school learners. It's not grade specific. We have learners from grade 8 and grade 12 in this class, and they equally are live weekly lessons. You get access to a video repository to help you on the certain concepts. It's a one-year course, and the course goes through the content from a beginner level and all the way to an advanced level to enable learners to grow in their competency. And it's all about engineering, robotics, and coding. And it's a very practical academy where learners build physical things. And it's been incredible to see the projects that the learners have developed through the Robotics Academy and the enjoyment that they have in the applied nature of this program. So the robotics curriculum consists of 3 modules, 2 engineering modules. The first engineering module is learning engineering concepts through a project to build an autonomous line following car. The second module is access control using RFID tags. And then the third module is computer science and data analytics, which is largely taught through game development via the coding language Python. And that is what the Robotics Academy is all about. There's a kit that is shipped to learners for the engineering component so that they can actually build it. And that is the price of the kit. And then along with that, they have the weekly live lesson where they work with the subject matter expert in terms of understanding the underlying concepts, but then also actually building their projects towards the end of each semester. It includes completion certificates, semesterly assessments and feedback, pre-recorded lessons, online support via WhatsApp. There's 16 weekly live lessons, and then there's an optional holiday project that will be reviewed and feedback provided. So a holiday build that learners can submit and actually get feedback in terms of their engineering and coding skills in building a robotic project. Can I apply only for the Academy Plus? Good question, and thanks Norm for posting it in the chat, saying that yes, you can only apply for the Academy Plus, and there's the link in order to do that. Okay, these are our Academy dates and times. Our Maths Academy happens on a Friday, our Robotics Academy happens on a Wednesday, and our Science Academy for grade 11s happens on a Monday, and for our grade 12s happens on a Tuesday. To apply, it's very much the same as the advanced programs. Visit advantagelearn.com and then navigate towards our academies and submit your application, and our team will be in touch with you with the next steps. And that is everything I wanted to share with you in terms of our Academy and our Academy Plus. It is 6:25, so I've managed to keep to time relatively well. Are there any questions that I can answer? Okay, please, if you have a question, just pop up your hand or post it in the chat, and I can manage that question with you. There aren't any questions via Facebook. There doesn't appear to be any questions coming through from Zoom. And so I think we can actually leave it at that. So as we say at Advantage Learn, as we try to make things as short as possible, but as long as necessary. We have used the full hour this evening, and thank you everyone for your time for joining us this evening. I hope you found it informative. If you need any further information, please simply reach out to us. Either give us a call or email us at info@advantagelearn.com, or engage with us via live chat at advantagelearn.com, and we'll be happy to assist you with any decisions that you might be grappling with. But that is it for this evening. So thank you to all of you for joining. I wish you all of the best for 2022, and I hope to see you on either our advanced programs or our academies. Have a good night, and thank you to all of you.